When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, the Boise State football team, Mike Prater, back on the practice field today, but on the blue. First time on the blue for the Boise State football team, and it may be the norm here moving forward. You had the hype circle going on, Riley Smith in the middle of that to kick off practice today. We'll have some more highlights to show you here as we move forward. Mike Prater there downtown in the RowPaint.com studios. BJ Rains here, Bronco Nation News Live. Mike, it's Thursday. Another football practice. We inch one day closer to the season with every one of these. How's it going, sir?
BJ, it was great to be on the blue this morning. It was about 15 degrees hotter, so I can cut out about 10 minutes of cardio tonight. But it was beautiful to see Boise State back out on the blue. You know, we saw that stat kind of roaming around this weekend or this past week that Boise State's one of only 15 teams in the country that will play every single game this year on artificial turf. They spent the first week on a fall camp out there at the Chevrolet on the grass. Today they moved to the blue. I'm not sure they'll ever go back to the grass. It's hot out there, but the guys were fired up. The music was loud. It was a beautiful morning to be out there, BJ.
I'm sure there's something more to it than they had this planned already, but it is kind of interesting how that stat comes out that Boise State's playing every game on turf, and then all of a sudden they practice on turf the very next day. They're like, well, why are we practicing on grass if we don't play any games on? Oh, yeah, I never thought about that. I mean, it's just I'm sure they had it planned this way, but the timing is very odd that they were out there on the grass practice field every single day for the first 7 or 8 days, and then that stat comes out, one of 15 schools, like you said, because there's no BYU game this year. That was one of the road BYU game. That was one of the last grass ones that they played in. But, interesting. But nonetheless, out there, they were in full pads yesterday. Today, shoulder pads, shells, no full pads, but they were out getting some work in today, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that this was planned because there were some BSU officials out there that said, I didn't know we were switching this morning. And the original plan that they put out for the media was that they were going to be on the grass. So, in the last 24 hours, somebody changed their mind. That happens all the time in fall camp. Maybe it was a planned switch because they're playing a lot of games with the minds of these football players out there in terms of just trying to mix things up. So maybe they told the players, we're on the grass. And then 20 minutes later, they said, no, you're going to go in the blue. So buckle up. It's going to be hot. Let's get after it. Who knows what? But they got after it this morning, and the intensity was based on the heat, based on some of the uniforms that they were wearing. The intensity just seemed to be a little bit more out there based on some of the five practice periods that we were able to watch.
Well, we will see some more highlights of that. Colin Mitchell for Bronco Nation News out there getting some footage today. But I got to remind folks, we're broadcasting Prater from the Cutwater Can Cocktail Studios. I got Prater's Whiskey Mule right here all ready for him. I don't know, we got the White Russian, the Bloody Mary, the Margarita, the Vodka Mule, Prater. I mean, we got all kinds of drinks here for you. We'll make sure we add a couple of these into your next month's paycheck. But,
please do.
Cutwater Spirits. Not sure if you've had these, Prater, but whiskey, vodka, gin, rum, tequila, all mixed right into your favorite drink, ready to go. You can now enjoy your favorite mixed cocktail wherever you are, tailgating for a football game, camping, you name it. You can find them at your local grocery store, gas station, and they're one of our newest sponsors here at Bronco Nation News. Got some cool giveaways in conjunction with the home football games. We're going to be giving away some really nice hard coolers, some golf bags, some I think even a Mick Ultra bike is one of the things I saw on the list. So we got some cool stuff we're giving away in addition to some drinks. So make sure you check them out. Cutwater Can Cocktails, new sponsor here at Bronco Nation News. Mike, you were out there today. We got some practice. We'll put some footage on the screen here as we talk about it. But yesterday was full pads. I really enjoyed being out there for yesterday with some of the hitting drills and some of the things that they're starting to ramp up the intensity. I know we're still 3 weeks from Saturday from the first game, so it's a ways away. But you get out on the blue, you get some pads on, it starts to feel a little more like football.
It certainly did today. And, they brought out some members of the Lyle Smith Society, so there was a lot of big money roaming around as well. Jeremiah Dickey showed up in his suit and tie, making the rounds, shaking some hands, kissing some babies. Okay, there were no babies there, but you get the drill. So, yeah, it was different feeling out there today. We've been out there most mornings with them throughout the entire first week of camp, and today it definitely felt a little bit different. 1 week closer. I know tomorrow they're going to give most of these guys the day off, at least on the field. No media access tomorrow. Andy Avalos, after a close scrimmage on Saturday afternoon, will meet with the media, and then we do it all again next week as ramp. We get 3 weeks away, 3 weeks and 2 days away from the season opener, BJ.
Yeah, and that first scrimmage is kind of that first checkpoint when you start to get a little closer to the season. There's usually 2 close scrimmages. You give them the first 7-8 days, the players get into it, and that first scrimmage is where guys really start to, show what they can do, put their names somewhere, it's just to start a pecking order on a depth chart. Then you get after it for another week or 10 days, Mike, and you have that second scrimmage where you really kind of solidify that depth chart going into the season. By the way, look in the upper left there. We saw that out of practice, Mike. The scoreboard progress continues. That has to be exciting for players, and everybody's seeing that scoreboard getting worked on as they practice there.
Yeah, that was right now it's a big, ugly eyesore, as it's supposed to be. It's a construction zone. And then over there on the south end zone, underneath the bleachers where they're putting up a new structure for the other end zone scoreboard, that's going on. So there's stuff going on both sides of the end zones right now, and it's pretty cool to see. The south end zone confirmed today that it should be ready for the season opener, for the home opener. That north end zone, you can see it there. It's a lot of empty structure. The video part of the board is gone. I'm not sure that that's going to be ready for the home opener, but progress being made. That was cool to see.
There's the O-line, by the way. We had a parent of an O-line member saying, why can't we get any footage of the O-line on these shows? Well, they only let us stand in certain spots, Mike, as you know, and it's kind of hard to get the O-line on the footage, but we'll do what we can to get some O-line moving forward. We had to zoom in there. They're working on some wide receiver routes here today. By the way, Mike, I'm going to need some of our listeners to help us out here. Our little birdie has informed me there's going to be a little news on the basketball front coming out in the next 10 minutes or so. And I don't know if that's a recruit, if that's a new $1 million donor, if that's something big, small. I have no idea. But I was just told there's some sort of basketball announcement coming out around 11:20. So we'll have to kind of see as the show's going on what that is. And hopefully if someone's on social media monitoring it for that, we'll be able to let you know what that is moving forward. But we talked to 2 players yesterday, Mike, Steph Cobbs, Caleb Biggers, 2 guys that at their own position, I think are, kind of mirror each other in a way. You've got the number 1 receiver, likely the number 1 corner, and 2 skill position guys there. And I enjoyed catching up with those guys yesterday.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun because especially when they were talking back and forth, we asked, Steph about going against Caleb Biggers. We asked Caleb Biggers about going against Steph Cobbs. They spend a lot of time together in fall camp going one-on-one. A lot of respect there, a lot of great skill. I really, truly believe that Biggers will be your number 1 cornerback, and there'll be 2 or 3 other guys fighting for that other side. And yesterday, it's Steph Cobbs is, the predetermined number 1 guy. Yesterday in Idaho Sports Talk ball game, and I had a pretty spirited debate about maybe Billy Bowens sneaks in there because, when we predict these things, it doesn't always come true. And Billy Bowens is getting a lot of name love, and not a lot of name love from coaches and teammates in fall camp right now. He's the explosive guy on this team, and I think that they really need him with the depth. It'll probably be really close. Maybe Steph Cobbs gets him by about 10 receptions at the end of the season, but don't count out Billy Bowens. He's a big one, and I cannot wait to see how that wide receiver room shakes out.
Yeah, because I have Billy Bowens 5th right now on my depth chart at wide receiver. So
I got him too. I got him too. You got him 5th behind Austin Bolt?
I do. We heard a lot about Austin Bolt in the spring, and you watch those wide receiver lines at practice. Austin Bolt's the 3rd wide receiver to go, right behind Steph Cobbs and Davis Cutter. And so you got Latrell Caples. So I'm actually pretty high on Latrell Caples. That's, for me, the interesting one. I'd be tempted to say Latrell Caples has more production than Billy Bowens this year. That's an interesting battle for me there.
I do love Latrell Caples as well, and I think that his ceiling is he's going to make the most progress, I think, in terms of coming from where he is now to where he will be at the end of the season. I think he's going to be an impact player, and I think all 4 of these guys are going to be impact players. I left out Austin Bolt. It's not personal. I just need to see it before I can believe it. Still hasn't caught a catch in all of college football. He's only had a couple of targets. I think he's going to be a player this year. I think he's going to be an impact player. And if you go back to 2019, like we've talked about, and Hank Bachmeier had 6 wide receiver targets, whether they're running backs or tight ends or wide receivers, between 25 and 63 catches. I think we're going to see a lot of that kind of depth this year. Maybe somebody with 60 catches, somebody with 50, somebody with 40, and then 3 or 4 guys with 20 to 30 catches. I think we're looking at that kind of production.
Hey, we're going to hear from Steph Cobbs in just a second, but I do want to thank a couple of our great sponsors, Transportation Compliance Service. If you're looking for a fresh start, a career change, you want a new job, not happy with your current situation, check out transcompservice.com. They can help you every step of the way, get the permits and things you need. This could be something as simple, Mike, as wanting to become an Amazon driver. You just go to transcompservice.com, and they can help you with all the permits and things you need to have your own business going, and you can start towing that first load, dropping off those packages in no time. My kids are going to be going this afternoon, actually, to see Boise Dentistry Co. Dr. Chris Meinert. Both my kids are in town and heading to see the doctor tonight. So BoiseDentistryCo.com, locations across the Treasure Valley, full family dentistry. If you're looking for a dentist, I got the perfect guy for you, Dr. Chris Meinert. Check him out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. United Commercial Insurance, another business that advertises with us, but that we're a client of. We have our business comp, workers comp, all these different insurance policies through United Commercial Insurance. It's easy, and it was all done in a couple days over email. So if you own a business or you're looking for business insurance, they can write policies in 44 states around the country. So make sure you check them out. You can get more information, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. A quick call could save you hundreds of dollars, 229-8222. Ask for Brandon and tell them you heard about it on Bronco Nation News. Steph Cobbs, Billy Bowens, whoever it is, they're all trying to replace Khalil Shakir. And we've heard numerous times coaches saying, we don't want them to replace Khalil Shakir. We want them to be the first Billy Bowens, the first Steph Cobbs, the first whoever. But it would seem like, at least in my opinion, maybe you're saying Bowens has a shot, but in my opinion, I think the odds on, if you're just betting the betting favorite, Steph Cobbs is the closest thing they're going to have to a replacement for Khalil Shakir this year. And here's Steph Cobbs talking about, what the challenge of trying to be that guy.
No matter how good I am or how good of a practice I have or, how bad of a practice, I got to fix everything each and every day. And Coach Miller does a great job in not letting me just walk around big-headed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not big-headed, but, anytime we're in field room, I could, have a good completion. He's going to find something wrong with it. And I asked him to do it because, it helps me each and every day. He was a great receiver here, and that's how he did it. So just find the stuff that you need to fix it. So I always try to find something I need to fix. Coach Miller always finds something I need to fix, and then I just apply it to the next day or the next practice or whenever I can apply it.
Well, that was my fault. That was the wrong clip, actually, that I wanted to play. But that clip is an interesting one. We talked about Matt Miller and Steph Cobbs at the point in his career, Mike, where he's trying to fine-tune the little things. And he said, I may have a great play, but, Matt Miller is going to find something wrong with it. And you know what? That's good. I want that. I told him to do that because there's always something that can get better at. And he tries to take one thing you learn from one play and move on to the next. And it seems like he's got his mind at least in the right spot here.
A lot of these wide receivers just cannot stop talking about Matt Miller. The impact he's had on the wide receiver room and the respect that these guys have for Matt Miller, one of the all-time great Boise State wide receivers, is pretty special. So I'm really excited. I know the loss of Shaq is a big deal, but I think there's more production in the wide receiver room. Hank Bachmeier doesn't always have to spend the first 2 seconds of his drop back looking for Khalil Shakir. He's got 4 or 5 different options right now. So I think it's really fun to watch. And Steph Cobbs is going to be a big part of it. He also confirmed yesterday, and I know you got some more sound here, that he's working number 1 in the kick return, probably working number 1 in the punt return. Genty and Wright and Helani are back in there as well. I think Steph Cobbs is going to be all over the football field this season.
Yeah, and we're going to talk in a minute about his weight and some other reasons why that might be. But here is just Steph Cobbs' thoughts on the challenge of trying to replace Khalil Shakir.
I mean, I'm ready for anything, but I don't really, like I said, I'm not looking into much of that. I got a lot of good teammates. We got a good receiver room, good receiver core that can all go and make plays. So, I just dig down and try to practice as hard as I can, get the defense a good look each and every day. And that's really what I focus on.
To potentially have, a bigger role, more opportunities. I mean, is that exciting for you?
Yeah, it's always exciting to come into a new year with good expectations. But, it means nothing if I'm not putting the work in. So I'm just, focused on getting better each and every day and just do what I need to do to just help the team the best I can, whatever role that fit is for me. I mean, I'm not a guy. I don't really look into the stats. The big motivation is I'm trying to get another ring. I'm trying to help my team get another ring. We're trying to go all the way to the top, win another championship. I got one. I want another one. So that's the motivation, really. And when I go out to practice and I see, not just offense, when I see like JL, Biggs that we just talked about, all the other corners, the D linemen, the receiving room, the linemen, everybody just going hard, and we going back in the locker room. I see everybody just put everything on the line, that practice, and we're doing it each and every day. That's really what's pushing me. And so, like I said, I don't really look into the stats, but I really want that championship ring, so I'm going out there, and that's really what's pushing me.
We tried about 6 different ways to get him to talk about having to replace Khalil Shakir. Can you do it? Is it a nervous feeling? Are you excited about the different production? I mean, me and Jay couldn't have asked the questions, any more differently, but he wasn't going there, Mike. He just said his goal is for the team, and he's not worried about looking at stats, and you kind of have to believe him with what he's saying there. But, I mean, deep down inside, of course, when you're the number 2 receiver and you have a chance to be the number 1 receiver and double your stats, I mean, basically for Steph Cobbs to do what Khalil Shakir did last year, he would have to essentially double what he did last year. He may not want to admit it, but I mean, it's got to be pretty exciting. But he does seem pretty motivated. JL Skinner said the same thing, man. I don't know if they've just been the coaches are kind of working them to say this kind of stuff or what, but it does sound like that. Got one ring, need another one. I mean, it seems like that's been a common theme with some of these guys not getting to that championship the last couple of years. Really is motivating them this year.
I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, it's that the fact that Riley Smith brought up the fact that he's a 50-year guy. He's been to 1 bowl game here. The 5 losses last year. Andy Avalos coaching him up the way that he does. These are the star players and the vocal leaders of this football team. So that doesn't surprise me that they're talking like that. But Steph Cobbs was really, really impressive yesterday in terms of a leader. I know you're going to touch on his weight gain here, which was the most impressive part. When I walked into the interview yesterday, I had not noticed him in fall camp being out there at practice in the morning. I guess I was looking at maybe some of the new guys. When I walked into the press conference yesterday, I go, whoa, he was noticeably thicker. So I think he knows that there's a big opportunity in front of him. What he says about that opportunity in public probably is a little bit different.
Yeah, this is the final clip for Steph Cobbs before we move on to Caleb Biggers. But Steph Cobbs, Mike, talked about adding almost 20 pounds, like 17 pounds or something to his frame, as you said. And it starts with the nutrition. I hate this when these guys are talking about adding weight. I got to eat 3 big meals a day to keep my weight up. And us media guys are just going, what?
Yeah, I heard that, and that hurt. That was painful to hear.
That would be nice. Well, here's the full clip, but he's talking about needing to drink more water, eat more food, stay hydrated, and hopefully that will, keep him from having some of those minor injuries that he dealt with at times last season.
It was water. I walk around with a water bottle now. If I try to just drink a lot of water, it wasn't no good for me in the past. But just walking around with a little water, I put a little power rating to give it a little flavor. My grandma used to call it a thirst quench. That's what she said. So I do that. That helps with my hydration. I've been eating. I try to eat 3 big meals a day, keep my weight up, just keep me healthy. And sleeping wise, I always gone to bed at a decent time so I can get my full hours. But just little stuff like that, making sure I'm eating right every day, eating good meals every day, and I always got that water with me.
Now, he kind of downplayed it yesterday, Mike, but Matt Miller was telling us at Media Day that he really played with a shoulder injury for a lot of the season. And if you looked at a lot of the footage from last year, he had a brace on his shoulder that he played through. Yep. We saw him have the ankle injury, which caused him to miss a game. And then, he kind of would come off limping at times last season and go back in. So he dealt with some things last year and still pushed, to have the season that he did. I think he said that the quote was he's playing freely and able to have some fun. If you see what Steph Cobbs did last year when he wasn't fully healthy, you do kind of get excited about what a healthy Steph Cobbs can do. And he knew the importance he was going to have to this team in the offseason and decided to bulk up and make some changes and, stay more hydrated. And it seems like that's, everyone talks about the football stuff, but there's so much more to it. And we've talked to, was it George Halani about cutting out candies and things like that? I mean, it does seem like the offseason, a lot of these guys took a lot of the other things to heart about getting their bodies ready for the course of a 12-game season. And Steph Cobbs and the Broncos are hoping he in particular pays off for him.
One of my favorite phrases out there is body armor. And they talk about putting on that 10 to 15 pounds of body armor to take care of your body, wrap it up in a whole shell of muscles. And that's exactly what Steph Cobbs has done. Steph Cobbs came in here at 178 pounds. And when that press conference was over yesterday, we talked to him about details real quick. And I said, did you gain 5 or 10? And he gave me the eye roll, BJ. He gave me the eye roll that our wives give us. It's like, no. I'm 15 to 17. I think he's up around 195 to 198 range based on what he said. So his arms are thick. His legs are thick. His torso is a little bit thicker. He's got the body armor to go out there and do it. And he's the guy who needs it. He's entering his 4th season at Boise State right now. I think he's played a career 14 or 15 games. He's never played a full season. Boise State needs him for a full season.
Anyway, I think we, doing some deductive reasoning, have what the basketball announcement is going to be here momentarily. We will tell you that in just a second, but I do want to thank a couple more of our great sponsors here at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com, Ridley's Family Market, ShopRidleys.com, 13 Idaho locations. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. You can check them out online for some great deals going on right now for the fall, ShopRidleys.com. Speaking of football season starting, you need to get that gear. 3 weeks from that first game at Oregon State, you don't want to go empty-handed. Get the new Nike gear, the new coach's sideline apparel, all that stuff. You can get it at the Blue and Orange store there at the Boise Town Square Mall right next to Pro Image up on the 2nd floor. If you're not in Boise, you can get free shipping on any order over $40. So make sure to check it out. Free shipping at theblueandorangestore.com. And, of course, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. Almost time for the Bauscher Show to get going again here with basketball season. BauscherRealEstate.com. Number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too small or too large. Matt Bauscher will help you out. You can check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. By the way, speaking of announcements, Mike, I think you know what the announcement is. But coming up next Wednesday, a new show is debuting here at Bronco Nation News with a prominent how can I phrase this? Just someone, if you're a Boise State fan, you'll know who this is. And he's going to be a new co-host on Wednesdays of his own show, and maybe similar to the Matt Bauscher show, maybe a football-related show similar to that. On a Wednesdays here moving forward. So we are very excited about that. But Andrew Meadow is a 3-star power forward. He's got offers from Washington, Washington State, and most of the Mountain West schools. And he posted that he was going to be making his announcement at 10:20, which is what I was told to look for some good news. So I haven't seen if the announcement has come through yet, but Andrew Meadow, class of 2023 for the Boise State men's basketball team, a 6'7", 200-pound power forward. Again, has offers from Washington, Washington State, New Mexico, Fresno State, UNLV, San Diego State, a number of schools. So to take away a player from San Diego State potentially, keep an eye out on social media, and maybe it already happened here, but Andrew Meadow looks like might be the new player for the basketball team, Mike. Hey, Caleb Biggers also talked, Mike, and he's another guy. I'll be honest, like I like talking to a lot of these guys, but Caleb Biggers gives it to you straight, man. You talk to him about they're talking about kind of the battle with Cobbs that you mentioned earlier, and he's like, hey man, we bleed the same blood. Like we both put on underwear and pants and shoes, and we strap it on. Like I'm there's no reason he's better than me. Like we're gonna go at it. And like some of the trash talking, I'll bet you out on the field, man, that dude is just a vicious trash talker, because we get a little bit of a taste of it, and then you hear what he talks about in terms of being physical and how no one's gonna beat me, and and he just going into his second year, he just seems a little more relaxed, a little more confident this year. And I know nothing's set in stone, but it looks like he's got a chance to be a starter at corner. And he's not the biggest guy, at least height-wise, Mike, but I think he's got a chance to have a big year for this group.
I totally agree with that. And you said he's got a little bit of confidence. I think he's got a lot of confidence, and that's really what surprised me yesterday. It was just kind of how he's busted out of his shell. We've talked to him a couple of times, and he's always been a pretty friendly guy, but there was a lot of confidence yesterday. Based on the way coaches are talking, this camp started with 4 cornerbacks competing for 2 different spots. I'm convinced, as I think you are, that Caleb Biggers is the only one that's locked up a starting job, and LaBeouf, Reed, and Canijo, and maybe even Clark are kind of fighting it out for that other cornerback spot. There's not going to be a lot of playing time after 2 or 3 of these guys. Biggers is going to be on the field a lot. The way he talks, I love the way he carries his game, BJ.
Oh, we got 2 clips from Caleb Biggers to play. Here's clip 1, just on his outlook looking into the season here.
It's a new year. I'm happy to be here. It's time to change some things. Out there just being developed, everything that I'm doing, competing with the guys that I have behind me is more important. Knowing that they ain't got to compete. I'm right here. You feel me? So it's more of that situation. I'm there for the guys, and just like it's a new year. It's time to step up and do what I got to do. Like I said, everything about the Broncos is everything. When I touched down here, when I first got here, it was everything, just by the coaching staff, just by the players, and how well they taught me, just being new here, and it was great. The culture is everything. The fans are everything, and it's exciting. I would say one thing that really motivates me is just getting up every morning, being thankful that I get to play football every day. I've been playing this sport ever since I was young, so it's good to wake up and knowing that I get to play this sport again. And a lot of players really don't understand that when you wake up in the morning, you got to thank God that God blessed you with this football ability and these skills to use it. So I'm kind of motivated by God waking me up each and every day in the morning, knowing that I'm about to play the sport I love.
I don't even know if I can do this, Mike. Can you hear this?
As well as Coach Jeff and Ben and the rest of my coaches
Yes.
that I've had at West Ranch these past
This is the
3 years.
live announcement
Always
from this
believe in me
three-star kid. We're
and
making
letting me
history
help them
here.
build a winning culture.
You can see the picture here. He is right here with his family. We're going back and forth here, and I apologize, but I'm just trying to see if we could get the.
SFG, Ed, and Poof. Lastly, I want to thank all the coaches.
This
at the
is
college
Andrew
program
Meadow,
that recruited me
three-star
and believed in me.
prospect.
But at the end of the day, there can only be one. With that being said, I will be committing to Boise State.
There he is putting on the Boise State shirt. If you can see that there, apologize for the. There's his parents putting on the Boise State stuff live here on the show. There is three-star prospect Andrew Meadow committing to play basketball at Boise State University. Not sure if I broke any rules there, live streaming to Instagram on here or not. But, again, had offers from Washington State, San Diego State, Fresno State, UNLV, and others. 6'7", 200-pound power forward from California, and he has just committed to Boise State basketball. So some breaking news there on the show, Mike.
Proud moment for the family. They were fired up. It's always good to see somebody fired up over Boise State basketball.
By the way, as we go back to Caleb Biggers for the final couple of minutes here, and we'll continue to track that and maybe try to get him on the show here moving forward. But we're talking Caleb Biggers, Mike, and it's interesting. He talked a lot about just how grateful he is to be here, and he's a guy that came. He's from Maryland. You went to Bowling Green. Nothing against Bowling Green. I have not been to their campus, but I can't imagine the facilities and the things at Bowling Green are what they are at Boise State, and the chance to win a conference championship, play in a big-time bowl game that obviously didn't happen last year. But it just seems like Boise State kind of saved Caleb Biggers, gave him a chance for his last couple of years, come out to Boise, experience what he always dreamed of in terms of college football. And he does seem like a grateful guy that wants to take advantage of this opportunity.
And it seems like he has taken advantage of this opportunity. Let's see how this season plays out. I don't want to get too carried away here, but I guarantee you when he came here, he was just fighting for a spot on the depth chart. And they brought him in for a reason. They liked him. They brought him in for another reason. They had a need. And all of a sudden, he started flourishing. He is an NFL prospect now. And I'm not talking about a draft pick, but he's going to get a chance if he gets through this season healthy and gets through the season productive like he thinks. I think he'll get a chance to play professional football somewhere down the road. We'll see how that plays out. But what a wonderful addition. And it's been fun to see him grow.
We got 2 minutes, Mike, and I got a lot of questions, so let's go rapid fire. Give me like 5 seconds of some of these answers from fans. Josh DeWitt, how much pressure is on Tim Plow this season?
A lot, especially from your fans, but I don't think it's a lot of pressure from Jeremiah Dickey.
Lonnie McMahon, who's your favorite coach to interview?
Tim Plow. He's very honest. He's very transparent. He's self-deprecating. He tells you when things are going bad, and he wants to make it better.
From what you've seen and heard, is Boise State football getting back to the standard?
Boise State football, I don't think has ever lost the standard. They lost 5 football games last year, but I think they did it within the standard. I think Andy Avalos is trying to put more of an emphasis on that. What the standard is, I'm not exactly sure, but the standard is to what? To win championships and 10 games a year. I can't speak for that, but I think that they've addressed those issues off-season, absolutely.
Would Austin Bolt be considered in a return role because of his speed, you think?
I've always wondered about that, and Johnny and I talked about that on Idaho Sports Talk yesterday. He was not mentioned. There were 4 guys mentioned yesterday in terms of punt returns and kick returns. He was not mentioned. Sometimes you got to have that kamikaze mentality to be a punt returner or a kick returner. I'm not saying he does or doesn't, but there's a reason why Austin Bolt, with all the talent that he has never been talked about as a returner.
Final one quickly. Current player you're personally most excited for right now? Is there a player or two that stands out to you you're excited to see this year?
Hank Bachmeier, and that's a really easy, low-hanging fruit answer, but he's gotten a little bit better every year. I need to see him get a lot better this year, and I think the opportunity is there. If he gets a lot better, this football team will accomplish a lot.
Appreciate all your questions. Sorry if we couldn't get to them. You can listen 3 to 6 today with Mike and JP and Johnny there. Appreciate it, Mike. That'll do it. Bronco Nation News Live. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. with Jay Tuss. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.